I had just finished preparing dinner for the family, but it turned out that the wives weren't included after all. Oh well, I thought. My heart was overflowing with joy as I glanced at my husband and father-in-law, who both nodded in agreement. It was time to bring out the meal. As I searched through my bag, I found what I was looking for, an envelope. I held it up and said, "Mother, I found this." The envelope contained a note that began, "My name is Molly. I married my husband Kevin when I was 25. 3 years later, we welcomed our daughter, and we've enjoyed a happy life together as a family. After our child's birth, I returned to work, and we've been working hard to balance parenting with our careers. One of the biggest challenges in my life has been dealing with my mother-in-law. She's often been the center of attention in the family and has a tendency to make everything about herself. My husband Kevin is the middle child of 3 siblings. He's the only one who is married. His siblings are still enjoying their single lives. My mother-in-law, who likes to think of herself as the Madonna of the family, has always been a difficult presence. She often refers to herself as the family's Madonna, and I suppose she really believes it. When I entered the picture as the only daughter-in-law, the dynamic shifted. My father-in-law and Kevin's siblings treated me with care, but my mother-in-law saw me as a rival. At the beginning of our marriage, Kevin's mother was convinced that I would never fit in. She would insist that Kevin should not forget the family meals despite our busy lives. "You should still have meals at our home," she'd say, even though Kevin and I manage our household together and he's supportive of my cooking. Kevin always stood up for me. He's someone who speaks his mind and is unwavering in his support. While he appreciates my efforts and our shared responsibilities, he sometimes misses the subtle ways his mother tries to undermine our choices, especially when it comes to meals. When we visit my husband's parents' house, my mother-in-law serves the meals. On the surface, it seems like a typical family dinner, but there's something peculiar. She never lets me into the kitchen. Even when I offer to help, she insists I stay out. The food always looks the same, and since I'm not allowed to assist, I never know what's in it. Once I had a soup filled with tiny fish bones. I didn't realize it until I drank it in one gulp, which left me in excruciating pain. Another time, I bit into a stick of bitter garlic mixed into a dish that was overwhelmingly harsh. "Molly, are you all right?" Kevin asked, noticing my discomfort. "I think I have a stomach ache," I replied. "Are you okay?" my mother-in-law pressed. "Oh, you don't like my food, do you?" she said, her tone sharp. "She said she's not feeling well." "Stop it," Kevin intervened. "Maybe she's just pretending," my mother-in-law suggested dismissively. "I don't think so," Kevin replied, clearly frustrated. "Hey, stop treating her like this when she's sick." "Fine, you're all on her side," my mother-in-law snapped. "That's not what we mean," Kevin said, trying to calm the situation. "I made dinner for everyone. What's wrong?" "Don't worry, I'll eat it all," I assured them, though I was struggling. "No, you," Kevin started to say. "You scared me," I exclaimed, seeing his reaction. "What's wrong? Why are you shouting?" I asked. "It's just," Kevin said, "I can't let you eat food that's gone cold." He took the plate of meat and potatoes from in front of me. "What the hell?" I exclaimed as he threw the food away. "Why is it so different from what I'm used to?" "It happened before," Kevin said, clearly frustrated. "I was served a soup filled with tiny fish bones. When I mentioned it, my confusion was met with denial." "Mom, what's going on?" I asked, bewildered. "I didn't do anything. You must have misunderstood," she replied. "Of course not. This meat and potatoes are terrible," I insisted. When my husband tried to serve the meat and potatoes to my father-in-law, my mother-in-law snatched the plate away. "If it's that bad, you don't have to eat it," she said dismissively. "That's not what I meant," my husband said, frustrated. "I'm asking why Molly's food is so bad." "I have no idea," my mother-in-law responded. "I think she did it on purpose," my husband accused. "Enough. This is unbelievable," I said. "You never let Molly into the kitchen, and now you're taking the plate like that? There's something wrong here." "Yeah, I think so too," Kevin agreed. "Well, I'm done," I declared. "I'm never cooking another meal here again." In the end, my mother-in-law never admitted any fault or apologized. Kevin used this as an opportunity to stop visiting his family. The rest of the day was relatively peaceful until something unbelievable happened. While I was away on a business trip, I returned to my hotel after a meeting and saw my mother-in-law walking hand in hand with a man in his 20s. "What? No way," I gasped, Frozen in disbelief, I was sure of what I saw. I didn't recognize the man with my mother-in-law, so I decided to follow them. They went into a cafe and sat by the window, not directly across from each other but side by side. I quickly began filming. As I watched, their faces grew closer together. I was horrified and couldn't bear to watch any longer. After about half an hour, they left the cafe and headed to a hotel. The next day, I waited until the kids were in bed and turned to my husband. "Hey, you know what?" I started. "You wouldn't want to see your parents doing something shameful, would you?" I hesitated, gauging his reaction before deciding whether to show him the videos and photos. If he didn't want to know, I planned to delete them. "I don't care," he said. "If you want to see something unsavory your own parents are doing, then I guess you can learn something from it." I was taken aback. "Wait, you're okay with this?" "Well, if there's something wrong with your parents, I'd like to know." "Actually, it was your mom," I revealed. "Oh my God, was it my mom?" he asked, stunned. "Yeah, I guess so." "What did she do to you?" he asked, clearly distressed. "Nothing to me personally," I said, "but I saw what happened yesterday." "Oh, seriously?" he responded. I handed him my phone with the videos and pictures. He looked at the images and said, "Oh my God, that's disgusting. I can't believe my mom did that. How old does she think she is?" He didn't seem shocked, though. "You're not shocked?" I asked. "No, not at all," he replied. "I mean, it's not her first time." "What do you mean?" I asked. "It happened a long time ago," he explained. "She used to cheat when she was traveling a lot, although she always said it was for work. My brother was still in middle school at the time. Dad forgave her and they tried to rebuild their relationship." "I see," I said. "Well, I guess they won't be rebuilding it again anytime soon." I found an agency to investigate the situation and asked if I could use the money for it. "Of course, it's worth it," my husband assured me. "Thank you. I'll let you know how it goes." After a month of searching and waiting for results, we finally received the report. My husband was stunned when he saw the findings. "Let's take the report to Mom," he suggested. "What? Is that really necessary?" I asked. "Why not just give it to Dad and let him decide?" I proposed. "That won't make us feel any better," he countered. "Molly, Mom did something terrible to you. We need to confront her to get some revenge. It's the only way I'll feel better." "I should do something for my dearest wife, shouldn't I?" Kevin said with determination. "Oh, Kevin," I replied, touched. Truth be told, I wanted to see my mother-in-law lose her composure in front of me. I wanted to get back at her for everything she had done. "Good job, Kevin," I said. "I'll let Dad know about this before we confront her. I don't want to drop the truth on him out of the blue." "Yeah, that's a good idea," Kevin agreed. So we left our son at my parents' house for the weekend and headed to my husband's parents' home. When we arrived, my mother-in-law scolded me as usual, but I didn't care. I knew today was the day it would all come to a head. The confrontation was planned for dinner. However, my mother-in-law launched an unexpected attack right from the start. My husband, father-in-law, and I were all caught off guard. "Let's start the meal," my mother-in-law said with a smile, but her tone was icy. The three of us, including myself, were left stunned. "Since you don't like my food, there's no food for you," she announced, adding that she had prepared the meal only for the family members, excluding the wives. "Okay, fine," I said, my heart racing with a mix of joy and anticipation. I glanced at my husband and father-in-law, and they both nodded in agreement. "That's it. Now it's time to reveal everything," Kevin said. "It's okay. I'll eat," I reassured him. I prepared the meal and then remembered something. "Wait a minute," I said, searching through my bag. "Here it is, Mother. I found this." I held up an envelope. "Well, I can't eat this," I added. "Oh yes, this was a present for Mother. I totally forgot about it." I handed the envelope to my mother-in-law. "Oh, you can be smart sometimes," she commented with a hint of sarcasm. Despite the comment, my mother-in-law accepted the envelope happily. But as she looked at the contents, her hands stopped and she began to tremble. "What's the matter?" I asked. "It's nothing," she replied, trying to dismiss it. "Is it really nothing?" I pressed. "What did she give you?" "It's nothing special," she said, but her voice was shaky. "Come on, let's see," my husband insisted. My mother-in-law tried to use her chopsticks to get some rice, but her hands were so unsteady that the rice spilled out of the bowl. "What's going on?" my husband asked. He took the envelope from her, and she desperately reached for it. Give it back to me, she pleaded. My husband examined the contents. What's this? He asked, looking at the report. It looks like an old woman is paying the young man for a date, he observed. You should check the other side too. Turning it over, he found photos of my mother-in-law with several young men. At first, the images seemed to tell a story that matched the report. I initially thought my mother-in-law was having an affair with just one young man, but the agency revealed that she had been involved with several young men. You really don't learn, do you? I said in disbelief. I can't believe all my hard work led to this. I'm thinking of divorcing you. Wait a minute, my mother-in-law interjected. This isn't cheating, it's just for fun. You're not going to waste that money on something like this. It's disgusting, I replied. And these guys are even younger than us. Oh my God. By the way, including Dan and Jason, we all know about this now, my husband said firmly. We're cutting you off. I'm cutting you off too, my mother-in-law snapped. Don't worry, I said. All you have to do is accept it. I know you don't have the money to pay me back. In exchange, never show up in front of us again. Wait a minute, she said defensively. It's not just a casual date. I was exploring different worlds. Right, Molly? You go out to eat with another man sometimes. No, not at all, I replied. I never spend money on men who aren't part of my family. It's a waste. I'd rather spend it on Kevin or Little John. Don't do this to me, she pleaded. You're a woman too, aren't you? She asked. Yes, I am, I said. But what's your point? I'm saying it's never enough to just be a wife or a mother, isn't it? She challenged. That's disgusting, I retorted. Then why don't you stay single? You, she shot back. I bet you would cheat too. Don't insult Molly, my husband defended. She's not like you. We all know that. Well, this is a good opportunity for me to tell you something, I said, preparing to address the matter further. I was planning to divorce you after I retired, but this timing works out perfectly, I said. Huh, my husband responded, confused. I forgave you when I discovered your affair years ago. You didn't learn from it and continued the same behavior. I knew all along, on the nights you were out, dinner was frozen food. You didn't think I'd find out, did you? It's all your fault. You weren't there for me, he retorted. That's what you do. You blame everyone else. It's a miracle my son turned out well with a mother like you. We three saw you as a negative example. I think you're the reason Dan and Jason are still single. With a spouse like this, you're seriously screwed. Oh, sorry, I forgot. This person was once that spouse. That's a good start. Now get out of my house. I'm not giving you any of my retirement money. Wait a minute, I'm entitled to half of it, and I'm entitled to alimony. Alimony can only be claimed from 3 years ago. Since you were cheating back then, it's going to be quite a sum. My mother-in-law paused, considering this. She looked dazed and confused. Where is she going? I wondered aloud. She must have gone back to her parents' house, my husband said. After that, my mother-in-law never returned. The divorce was finalized and she was left penniless. She moved back to her parents' house, but now that the money was gone, she found herself cut off from the young men she'd been seeing. Instead of being welcomed back, she was made to work full-time by my husband's grandparents. She now works at a supermarket near her parents' house. My father-in-law, a very generous man, had been foolishly betrayed by her. With her gone, our family is finally in harmony. Dan and Jason, who rarely visited before, now come around often and have even started talking about marriage. I'm genuinely happy for them. Everyone is smiling, and I'm excited to share that I'm pregnant with our second child. I'm committed to putting my family first. It's upsetting to have had such a mother-in-law, but it seems that people who engage in affairs often lose their way. My father-in-law can finally enjoy his later years in peace. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.